you with a hot spot.
And you caught in the middle.
Back in the mix. Like the X-Men, I'm waiting.
Caught in the middle.
Hold up, you go ahead and rock.
Caught in the middle.
Greetings everyone and welcome to my next installment into the Misfit series featuring Kulev, the cheater of death.
Looks like you chaps need some support.
I'm here to explain what kind of being this weird voodoo snake is and help you get used to him easier with some simple tips and tricks.
A candle in the darkness.
Don't want to keep you waiting, so let's move on to his backstory then, shall we? Kulev's full real name is Dr. Ignatius Wright, and he was a former tenured history professor for Cambridge University. He was enamored about the mystical power of voodoo, which made him sought after the answer for immortality. Dr. Wright was passionately driven to find the answer he was seeking and traveled around the world researching the lore and perfecting the rituals of voodoo in order to obtain immortal status. And it worked! Until he turned 120 years old to where he finally met his end. For the moment at least. You see, Dr. Wright somehow was able to have his subconscious stored and wrote in his will to have his body and mind sent to a close friend of his, Sterling Taylor, who was a maverick computer scientist for experimentation. Sterling digitized Dr. Wright's mind into a cybernetic snake to which Dr. Wright used to control his corpse like a puppet, to feign his death as he tried to return to his former position at Cambridge University. It didn't work as you can imagine, as his peers weren't fooled at the slightest. When his plan failed, he was removed from his position at the university. Dr. Wright then decided to leave and travel overseas to meet with the Bleeding Edge gang, so he can meet a kindred group of people just like him. That is, after he accidentally committed arson at Cambridge. Fun fact, Kulev's gadget, the ward, that he uses to heal wasn't developed by him, but by his good friend Sterling. Which is what caused the fire at the university when Kulev wanted to give it a test run before leaving. Hey man, when experimenting, sometimes you just gotta, burn down a university just to make sure it works. Now that you know who Kulev used to be when he was a human, let's move on to his pros and cons when he enters the arena. Pros up first, as usual. He's a tanky support with self-sustain abilities, has a consistent healing passive, excels at helping lock down an area with his healing ward, giving his team a zoning advantage, can help melt down enemies with his curse mark so his team can focus fire on them, comes with a shield ability that can help mitigate some damage or potentially save someone. He's really good at hazard killing enemies with a super bamboozle, and can increase a teammate's stats to make them a bigger threat or at the very least harder to deal with. Now for the downsides to Kulev, where he finds himself in a spot of bother. He's very reliant on others in order to make plays. His damage pool is pretty dang low, with the exception of his curse mark. One of his supers, Boon, is completely useless without a teammate to cast it on. He doesn't have strong burst healing capabilities. His healing wards are useless when the fights are outside of its zone. His healing wards can be destroyed, making him give no more healing until his cooldown is up. And finally, he has no escape abilities. Now since that's out of the way, it's time for our Voodoo Master to show us how it's done. What say you, Doctor?
Jolly good choice.
Before we're up against it, as Kulev would say, let me clarify some things that people get a misconception about the fine doctor here. Kulev is not a strong burst healer. I can understand why people think he's amazing, but in truth, his healing leaves much to be desired. Keep in mind, if you want to get the max healing potential for your team, not only do you need to drop the ward around them, but you physically need to make sure you're standing near them to allow your passive to take effect as well. Most players don't know what his passive even is most of the time. It's called Lucky Charm. This passive heals you and your nearby allies that are next to you continuously. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this passive is pretty underwhelming, but it's free healing for you and your team you're trying to synergize with. But that's how Kulev helps his team, by healing multiple people consistently, not by a great amount, but he prolongs everybody's ability to fight longer. Whereas other healers are single target focused, with the exception of Miko with her chain heal, but her ability is single target focused before it bounces to the next person. Kulev just being there helps sustain everyone that's just nearby him. Back to his passive though, let me explain a little more how this doodad works. You see this green circle underneath his feet? That is Kulev's passive. This circle will proc roughly every 2 seconds. Now, watch as I move towards my allies. They now all have the same circle underneath them, meaning they are receiving the passive heal every 2 seconds, just like me, as long as I'm near them. Again, the healing ain't amazing, but it's free healing, and sometimes a little can mean a big difference. And with that small bit of extra information, let me show you the exciting gameplay of Kulev. Not really.
Let's beat 7 bells out of them, shall we? Stealing objective B. Yeah!
Holy shit, you're dumb as fuck.
I'm not close enough. Sugar?
Fuck out the way.
Healing over here.
Well, hold on there, Speed Racer.
There's dynamite.
Get over here!
Handled in the darkness. I don't have a target. You go.
Hey, let's fuck this crackhead up. Hey, this crackhead got hands, nigga. Oh! What the fuck, that?
I'm taking B and life is good.
I found you, faker.
As long as stay for we ain't done. You heal me, I'll heal you later.
Come here, you ain't gonna night-night, bitch. Go sleep. Shut your bitch ass up.
The enemy have captured objective C. Healing over here.
Keep the motherfucking legs closed. What's up? What you wanna do? Get the fuck out of here. Nigga been practicing.
Nothing is certain but death contest.
All right, it's morphin' time.
Hey, no, she not, nigga. That was that bitch with no damn Power Rangers.
Handled in the dark.
This shit is work time. I never heard nobody say this shit.
Healing over here.
bounce his ass, nigga. Damn, that nigga quick.
I require a target. Time stand still.
Oh, damn, that's my nigga. Pop off on the ass.
They're still in beat. Take them out.
Just try and stop us.
Coming for you.
Hey, slap the shit out of him. Oh, you hit like a bitch, man. Ah.
Man, who's on you? Ow, that hurt. He's cursed. Stop one from hitting a freaking thing. Good on you, healer. I don't have a target.
No stopping us, brute.
Yeah, this is big brain time.
Wanna run that by me again?
ダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい
Hello there.
Alrighty, now that we got that nonsense out of the way, let's move on to the mod portion. Like last time, I'll try and explain the reason behind each one I selected that should be helpful towards your builds you're wanting to make. First, we got Medicament. Not the greatest mod, but an okay pick if you just want to slightly boost your ward healing. Next up is Dispersal Field. The reason I like to pick this mod up sometimes is because I like being a little bit flexible with my healing zones that I create for my team by increasing the range size of the area covered by my wards. Another ward mod called Prolonged Ward. I like my wards to stay up as long as possible to keep myself and my nearby teammates patched up. But the best part is that the moment the ward's lifespan expires, your cooldown for your next ward is already up and ready to go, so it almost feels like you always have heals prepared. Okay, now for some damage mods. What we got here is Humbug. This mod can help add more oomph to your curse ability to help out your team burst the target down even more. And here we got Curative Curse. This is a good mod if you want to still help out deal some damage, but also give your allies a little bit more healing, since whatever target you mark, they start to get a benefit of attacking them by healing themselves for 25% of the damage done. Next up for some more damage is Benediction. This mod simply adds even more damage to your buff when you cast your super boon onto a teammate. Another damage mod up for the pickings is Infectious Power. Now, this mod is an interesting one. Not only are you buffing a single target with your boon to increase their damage, but everyone that's around them receives a damage increase as well. Only problem is figuring out the range that people get infected by this, but just the idea alone of making multiple people hit harder is a solid deal. Now for a defensive mod pick, we got Omen of Vigor. This mod increases the shield health when you cast Vigor onto a teammate or yourself. Without the mod, the shield gives you 180 shield HP, but with the mod, it gives you 234 shield HP. An okay pick if you want to prevent one burst combo from one person or to mitigate even more damage. Not the greatest, but a safe pick if that's what you're concerned about. And last we got Fortitude, a simple mod to give yourself an extra 100 HP to your health bar. Kulev without it rocks 700 HP, and with the mod he'll be 800 HP. So just another safe pick if you want to be more tankier for Kulev. Now before we bring this video to a climax, I would like to share some simple tips and tricks that can help you out while trying to learn how to play Kulev. Number 1. Your ward can be used for some other utility outside of just healing your team. You can use it in very creative ways as well. Something that players don't tend to remember or realize is that Kulev's ward does do damage to enemy players that are standing inside it. Now, I know the damage isn't really a fragger, but since it does do damage, you can use it to dismount enemies that are trying to run away or get around with their hoverboard. You can even use the ward to unstealth a daemon that's trying to sneak away or close in on you and your team. Big warning! It's the initial damage from your ward that dismounts enemies and unstealths daemon. So keep that in mind, and do not think just because you put it in their path that you will dismount someone or unstealth an enemy daemon. Number 2. Something pretty cool about Kulev is that there is some skill when it comes to shielding your team when fighting. Besides the obvious choice of just giving a shield to help mitigate damage, your shield can also help make sure your team cannot be disrupted when they start attacking, besides getting stunned by abilities. You see, when a player is shielded, they are immune to hit stuns, making it harder for melee fighters to simply walk up to them and hit them to stop them from what they were doing. So keep this in mind when you're trying to make sure that your teammate is not being disrupted when fighting or fleeing. Number 3. Okay, look. I understand there are many of you that still struggle to parry effectively while everything is going on around you. But allow me to show you something that can help those of you having a hard time with this. I introduce to you what some of my friends like to call the e-girl tech. You see, this is something that most new players are unaware of, is that you get a free evade when you're knocked off your feet. Some of you are probably asking,
dude, you're not expecting me to let them hit me the whole time until they knock me over, right?
well, if you'd stop interrupting me, you pathetic, spastic, piece of sh**, jump and let him hit you. Simple as that. Because if you get hit while airborne, you will immediately fall on your back, or you can get a free evade to get away and get some distance from your pursuer. Do keep in mind that this does not guarantee your escape. It's just a means of delaying the inevitable until you either successfully bail out or you die. But you just wasted more time from them, basically. Smart players will notice this and punish you for it effectively by predicting you're going to evade away and will casually stop attacking and run towards the direction that they think you're going to evade to, or throw stun ability to halt you when you evade. Ooh. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video and hope that it helps, even if it's just by a little. Thank you for taking the time and watching my silly, dumb episode. Stay safe, happy Halloween, and like always, I hope to see you help cause chaos. Goodbye.